Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody's having brand new to laser engraving, and she bought a couple of files off of Esti or something, and her first question was she didn't know what 6 and 3 millimeters mean. Well, that's the thickness of the wood that you use. This is pretty cool that they give you both sizes. So in millimeters, let's do this. Take your Smart Fill tool. Take your Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And look at the size, and it's 6.2 millimeters thick. So that's 6.2 millimeter wood, or really 6 millimeter wood. They're leaving a little bit of room for error. And then on this one, when we move that out of the way, it is 3 millimeter wood. So that's what that means. I don't know what 3 to 3.2 means, but it's either 3 or 6 millimeter. So that's thickness of the wood. And just to kind of show you from a American measurement, let's turn your measurement into inches. And now let's click on this. And this is 0.244. So 2.5 would be a quarter of an inch. So this is less than a quarter of an inch because it's translating for millimeters. So if you have 1/4 inch plywood, this will work. Probably have to sand off, and you're gonna have to sand it anyway. It's gonna reduce it. Where the other one should be 1/8 inch wood. I'm gonna have to zoom in here. And this really wasn't her first question, but I'm gonna try to answer both questions. So that's filled in, and it is 11.8. So in 1/8 inch wood is 1.25. And a lot of times I'll make this joint 15. Now, you're gonna have to test this joint to make sure, before you cut all this out, you need to test your joint to see if it fits. Because if it doesn't fit, you wasted a lot of time. And maybe I'm gonna make a second video on how to do that. But her real question was, her page size, her laser size is 24 by 12. She doesn't know how to get this onto there with it fitting. So that was the main object of the video. And it almost fits, because these things are, there's 13 inches, so it's 1 inch too big. So these are all individual parts, and like the name is different and everything. And what I don't like is, in most laser people are going to use a red hairline for a cut line, and the text should be black. So you could very easily, and that's basically a fill, we could select all this, and it says several fills, but we could click on that and go to a black, we'll fill in the whole thing. You're going to have to do them individually, but that's easily enough done. And even if you didn't want that text, you could, well, I'm not doing too good right here. Let's get that name, and let's do this. Let's set our nudge factor on about 6 inches, and let's nudge all the names and all the graphics that are basically fills out of the way. Whoop, hit the wrong one. And then we need to move this guy out of the way. And you see it, and as long as you use the nudge. So let's take all these and then right click or left click your mouse and turn them black. Actually, somehow they got them to be an outline. Pretty good graphic, it looks pretty good. Let's double check that. I'm gonna right click no outline. So there you go, I just hit the wrong button. So you want it to fill. Now this is a really thin line, and it might not even show up on the laser engraving, where you could add to that line by making the outline black. But that's still not what the video is about. But let's move that out of the way one more time and move this guy up, and see this hole is actually separated. Now let's move these back. Well, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's select it all and right click your mouse in red, double click on here and make it sure it's a hairline. It's got to be a hairline to cut. So now you've got all these. Let's nudge these back to where they belong. This would be ready to go, but it's still not going to fit on our laser bed. So what you need to do is group each one of these together. They've got them pretty close together, which is standard. But what I'd do is I'd grab it and then nudge it over and Control G and group it. Nudge it over, Control G and group it. And see, these are all individual parts. Nudge it over, that way you know you've got it all, and Control G. Nudge it over so you know you have it all, and Control G. Nudge it over, Control G. Control G. And we're just going to go ahead and make sure these are, see if you don't, the holes are not there. So once you've Control G, which is group, every one of these can be moved without distorting or hurting anything. So you've got a laser bed that's 24. It's going to be a little waste feel on wood, but we can take this and rotate it 270 degrees and put it in your laser bed right there. Rotate this one 270 degrees. And the reason I'm doing that so it'll show up. See, it won't fit in there. The box is just too long. But what you can do is you can have, I know I didn't make, maybe I hit Control D a while ago and made a duplicate. Let's rotate that 270 degrees. And it's going to take, so if your plywood is there, you can always put these other pieces, and you can just drag them over there. Now there is a chance that you could maybe take this one and put it in here and save a little wood if your wood is already cut that size. And let's try rotating it. I'll tell you what, let's move these out of the way for a second. And it almost fits. You could probably get that one closer to the edge. So you can do stuff like this. It's just a little bit still long for your laser bed. That's too close for comfort. It might work, but it wouldn't be worth the challenge and then if that did happen to work, then you could put these in the blank spots. My suggestion would be to cut your wood. If you can buy the wood in this size, just buy your wood that is 12 by or 14 by 14 or something. Well, you can't make it 12 by 14, and then it would encompass it all. And then you could get these other three parts in there. And if the wood's long, I know I'm just rambling here, but if you could cut this, and you could always go like this and select it all and say you need a piece of wood that's 16 and a half, so 17 to make it sure. So if you got a piece of plywood that is 17 inches, and most people are going to get their laser wood cut to the size of their laser bed. Now, and just real quick, I'm making this video too long. When I said test your cuts, so once you have all this grouped together and everything, take a couple that have male and female parts. So this would be some of them. So you're going to have some male parts go down inside these holes, and you've got both of them in this example. This is how I would test the cuts. Keep them out of the laser bed and Control D and make a duplicate of them. And also, you've got your nudge factor set on. You need to, if you're new, I would definitely set this on 0, 0 because it's a lot easier. Then once you have these two sets, all you need is a male and a female, but I would use two different parts. And I just take my rectangle tool and grab this and grab that and take your virtual segment delete key and just wipe across there, get rid of everything else, you could actually break the curve apart and remove all this. But what's going to happen, and see, that's why we made a duplicate, because you can't get this back once you've done it. And then cut these individually out. Okay, we have to select everything and go to object and ungroup it, because those two things were a group. So now you've got a group of things. And I would cut these two pieces out. And really you only have to cut out one since it's got a male and a female. But, well, you do, because this male and female are on the same board. So cut these two pieces out, and basically you could just cut this piece. I'm using the Smart Fill tool just to get the two pieces. And it would still save you a little wood. Delete all that, put these back, and left click no fill and right click red, and then double click on this and make sure you've got hairline. Because depending on how you have it filled out. Those two pieces will cut out. And then if this piece doesn't fit inside that piece, you're kind of, well, one, you didn't waste some wood. And see, they've got them identical, so it should fit, because your kerf is going to make up that difference. So I'm suspecting it's going to work. Anyway, I hope that answered a couple of her questions, and thank you for watching.